Believe it. This had never happened. And I thought, what on earth am I going to do? How am I going to announce this? This is normally exciting. This is a good week. So I just turned to the group and I said, unfortunately, no one's lost any weight. And in that silence, I just scanned the room and I just went from face to face to face to face to face. And that's when I saw it. There was the disappointment, the heartache, the oh no, not again. I knew.
Hi, everybody. My name is Lisa Brierley. Welcome to Soulmates and Suitcases. And my amazing husband, Scott Brierley, is not with me today. However, I have an amazing guest here today. Now, before I introduce him, if you are new to Soulmates and Suitcases, our podcast is a space where we have honest, open conversations about healing, resilience, relationships, mental health, and of course, all those stories that shape us. And so we're ready to share an amazing story today. So I would like to introduce and welcome Barry McElhinney.
That's it. Great. It's great to be here, Lisa. Great to share this great topic.
We're excited to have you on here, Barry. And Barry is a certified mind-body eating coach, as well a life coach, and an NLP master practitioner, an author of The Quiet Hunger, which I'm excited to talk about because he just got his first copy. And as well, for more than 20 years, Barry's been helping people around the world create a kinder, calmer relationship with food and with themselves as well. So we have a lot to cover. I'm really excited about this topic, Barry. So maybe you can start us off by telling a little bit about yourself and maybe what led you into this amazing mission that you're on.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, officially as a career, I began as a technician and the old electronics technician from years ago. We used to dive into televisions and video players and things. That sort of ended in 2012. I had been teaching, though, and helping people lose weight, really since 2002. And that was just to earn some extra money. And it was pretty good, just a basic diet and exercise program that kept people going. After a few years, though, I started to get a little bit suspicious or felt as though something was missing. Some people would quit, some people would just fade away, basically. And I was told just to go on to the next customer, and that was it. But there was one event that got me into really how this started, especially for me, and that was I was leading weight loss challenges, and I'd led about seven, and this particular one. Week one, we start. Week two is usually really exciting because people have got all these great results from this excitement and enthusiasm. And a group of about 12 people, and we did the weight measurements and I added them up, ready to announce the winner for that week. And lo and behold, no one lost any weight. I couldn't believe it. This had never happened. And I thought, what on earth am I going to do? How am I going to announce this? This is normally exciting. This is a good week. So I just turned to the group and I said, unfortunately, no one's lost any weight. And in that silence, I just scanned the room and I just went from face to face to face to face to face. And that's when I saw it. There was the disappointment, the heartache, the oh no, not again. I knew this would happen, and etc., etc. It was all there, and I thought there definitely is more to this than diet and exercise.
Yeah.
So that's how I got started, really, in doing this, and that led on to doing life coaching, and then uh, a course with the Institute for the Psychology of Eating as well, in mind-body eating, and just brought everything alive. It was great.
Amazing. Can I just backtrack a little bit and ask you, how did you even get into the dieting business? Like, what caught your eye there?
Um, really, I needed to earn some extra money.
And that's what it was.
Basically, my wife um, was not well and was not able to work, and I just needed extra money. So I was interested in health stuff. I had been relatively healthy. I had some challenges, but I thought, you know what, this is pretty good. I'll just get into that.
Yeah. And so it opened up this new avenue that you never knew that you were going to get into. So tell us more. So you had that sort of pivotal moment of looking at those faces, and what is your immediate connection, understanding, or awareness?
I had the awareness or the suspicion that there's got to be something else more than this. Now, to help with that, though, I'd been in the personal development space for about 15 years. So I knew the connection between mind and our mind and certain habits and things that we do. Things like goal setting and achievement and success and all that sort of thing. And I thought, there's got to be, surely there's something between our mind and food and how we eat. And bingo.
You found the formula.
That
You found something. So can you share just your book, just so we can see what just came into you this past week or so? So tell us about your book and what people will find inside.
Yeah, the quiet hunger is a totally different topic. You wouldn't think of it when you think about food and eating. You normally think of diets and diet program. Well, this isn't. We talk about food, but we don't do diets. We talk about uh, enjoyable movement, but not about exercise, which can have a negative pinning to it. So the quiet hunger, when we all know that when we've been hungry, in our tummy, we we know that, oh gee, I've got to eat some food. And that's a good thing because you've probably been exercising or you've probably been working hard or hasn't been long since breakfast. So there are another hungers as well. So things like you might be feeling in your mind, your emotions are sort of going really incredible, or you've had an angry day and you're just angry. Or there's emotions that are when you might feel stressed, and that's something there. Sometimes with these emotions, I'll pop the book down.
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes we turn to food as an outlet to try and get the issue resolved. Oh, great God, oh, gone away. And that outlet is what we want to know. Our body, our food and emotions are really strongly tied. And if we can learn more about ourselves and the connection and what's going on, that then leads to the understanding and even the healing.
Yes, I love that awareness, that understanding. I know for me personally, I began back in 2018 with support, and I think that's a big thing, Barry, because a lot of us we want something new, but it's where to reach out. And so for myself, it was reaching out to someone who had done the work in regards to understanding what food does in the system and how it
Yes.
can support you. However, on top of that, I think this is what you're speaking about, is more the behavior or the patterns that have been created over our life, and maybe even the environments that we play a part in over our life.
Yes.
So combining those two understandings, the facts, along with that emotional side of habits and things that we typically do. And when I speak of a habit, you have a birthday party, there's a sugary cake, and everyone's excited, and we all eat the cake. So to actually step back and go, okay, I want to enjoy the cake,
Mm.
However, I don't need to eat half of the cake. That sort of thing, and understanding what is going through the mind and the awareness. So is that kind of what you're looking at?
That's a great start, Lisa.
Yeah.
It's getting to also understand the rules we have.
Mhm.
Like picking up on a point you said there. In one of my weight loss challenges, I had a family. It was a husband and wife and the daughter. And the daughter was going to be married the following weekend. And the husband sort of came up to me and said, "Oh, we're going to have a bad week this week." I said, "Well, what's going on?" He said, "Oh, well, the wedding's on." And I said, "My friend, forget about the weight loss challenge. This is a wedding for crying out loud. Eat, drink, and be merry. This is something you really want to lock in to your mind and emotions as a really amazing, happy celebration and a wonderful thing for your family. That's what you want. Imagine going." And then after it, you had to say, "Well, the wedding is all right, but I just had to drink water." And it's like, it's just not the same, is it? Food is given to us. We can use it to really amplify celebrations and events. And that's what it's all about. It's not about the rules. We have to, oh, well, I can't. And it's interesting in coaching when we find someone who's so rigid in their eating and in their rules, quite often that extends to other parts of life and they find, oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't. It's just incredible how food and how we live our lives can be so linked.
Good point. You say that word can't. It's interesting because I know my husband tells this story all the time. We've been part of many personal development classes, and the word can't was X'd out of our vocabulary for 90 days. And it's
Yes,
interesting how important that mindset is. And so even deciding to use different words like I choose. So for me, Barry, I know you had
mm,
mentioned like if it's a wedding, if it's a big special thing, event, for myself, I still keep integrity with my body and my health, right?
yes,
So I'm excited to say I choose to drink water because I want to, be present, have fun, and all those things. So
that's
those are
right.
the things that align with me. And so that's my understanding of those things.
Yeah, look, absolutely. At the end of the day, it's what resonates with who you are. A
Yeah.
big point, really, in talking about this right from the start is you've got to acknowledge that each of us are different, whether you like it or not. We're all so different. There's a thinking in the world that sort of tries to sort of like squeeze us into the same box. And you see that in the weight loss thing where, they'll bring out like a shake and whatever program, and there you go, that'll do everyone.
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe. And that's so incredible. I had a lady one time I helped on the shakes there, and she rang me up soon after starting. She had woken up with a rumbly tummy, and before too long, she ended up this, emptying her stomach into the toilet and went to the doctor. And the doctor said, "What have you changed recently?" "Oh, I've started to shake." "Get off it. You're allergic to it. Get off it."
Oh,
And she rang me up and said, "Oh, I can't continue because the doctor said I'm allergic to the shake." And I paused and I thought, "How are you taking the shake?" And she says, "Oh, in milk, dairy." And I said, "Are you allergic to dairy milk by any chance?" And she says, "Oh, no, no, I have a bit in my coffee and that's fine. I have no problems whatsoever." And I sort of encouraged her. I said, "Would you like to try an experiment? How about we try half the shake in soy milk. Have you ever had something like that before? And she was happy to try. And after a few days of that, we increased it to a full dose in soy milk. No problems. And she went to lose some weight on the shake. So we're not the same. What works for someone isn't, and that's part of the journey, is really understanding who we are and what our body needs. And of course, that opens up other things that as you age, of course, from year to year to year, your body changes. So there's going to be new lessons learnt. It's impossible for you to judge yourself against someone else. It's meaningless and really wrong. It's your body. Love it. It's doing a wonderful job.
Yes, change is the constant, that's for sure. We're always changing. And even what is going on in our mind is changing and thus affects our body and how it even operates and how it runs. And so just thinking there, you have so many amazing thoughts going through my head. I don't want to miss anything. You were speaking about, oh my gosh, I had a total blank.
Was it the shake, the lady with the
Yeah,
shake?
oh yes, yes. The understanding that our awareness and the knowledge we're also learning about what our body needs. So a little bit of the factual
Mm.
sort of information about food is changing all the time. And it's been an interesting journey for my husband and I coming to Thailand and experiencing different diets and how
Yes,
it affects the systems in
yes.
your body and that sort of thing. And then heading back to Canada and going, oh my gosh, my system is acting different again. So it is very much an awareness in the body. So what does that look like then when someone connects with you, Barry? Like, what is kind of the first step to take?
Yeah. This is usually the first step. It's really not worth going ahead if you're not willing to slow down and pause and um, listen to yourself or try to even understand for what purpose do you do things.
Mm,
When you go to have a meal, or you might have like takeaway a lot, and like, for what purpose would you do that? What are you expecting from that meal? So yes, awareness is really good. Awareness is not judgment, and that's a really important thing. Awareness is simply observing and taking note. So you might have a meal, and one of the exercises we give um, a client, I say to them, I've got an exercise I want you to do before each meal. So the first step is to move away from your work desk,
mm,
or if you're at home in a noisy area, move to another location that it's quiet, you can be by yourself. If you're with the family, okay, that's you be with the family. But essentially, you're moving away from that. Particularly workplaces are a place of stress usually. And if you're in front of a computer or with your phone, where is your mind going to be?
mhm.
It's going to be what you're looking at.
Mhm.
And this is an important thing. So we want to move away from there to get the awareness. The next thing you do is just ask yourself, you say, hey, what do you need right now? And you might have been busy all morning or and just racing around and hadn't had a snack or anything, and your body's feeling a bit tired simply because of the running around. It might be physical, and your body sort of say, "Oh, look, I need some carbs. I need my fuel tank filled up, so I've got some energy to do the afternoon." Carbs are not evil. This is something that, listening, okay, great. So you make sure your meal's going to have some carbs in it so you can pick that up. Um, it could be thirsty, so you need more. to drink. So okay, that's the first step. The second step is you get your meal and you start eating, and you then notice the meal. How does it feel? Is it warm? Is it cold? Is it soft and chewy? Or is it hard and crunchy? What's it taste like? How does it feel going around in your mouth? What's it? So we're noticing all those sensations, being really present with the meal. And that enables, our body then to acknowledge that, hey, we're eating. And the brain says, oh, I better start my metabolism up a bit better, and let's get that eating function happening. And continue with your meal. And as you get towards the end, you start to notice, how has my body received that? Has it been something that's good, that's healthy, or perhaps I shouldn't have had, and it's sort of like feeling a bit just sitting there in my stomach, not doing anything. What has it felt like? And then once you've finished, it's thank the meal for nourishing you. Step up, move away from that location, back to your seat, and that's it. You don't think, oh, I shouldn't have had that. You don't start damaging yourself because of that. The meal's over, it's done. There's nothing you can do. Just be thankful for it. So that's the awareness that we start with, an exercise that we give. And it's actually a little bit of a difficult exercise. And some people find they don't get far into it in the first few days, which is quite interesting. Being able to stop, be calm, and listen to your body and what it needs. One point I didn't mention there in step one thing we do after we've moved away is we take 5 deep breaths. 5 deep breaths. And that really brings us present as well.
Yeah.
So a lot of things there to keep us and make us present. So we're with the food, our body is ready to accept the food, and we eat, notice what it's doing. Once we're finished, move up and move on.
Those are amazing practical tips. And I actually just recently used ChatGPT to suggest that sort of concept to me,
Yeah.
because I know for myself, I tend to have the phone right there. And it's like, not good, because I had lots of bloating, which I know a lot of people experience lots of bloating out there and those kind of things. And I know it's making those things a habit and a routine so they become a normal part of your day. And it's so hard for so many of us. We forget and we get back into the old patterns that we did for years, and it's to stick to it until it becomes a normal way of life. So I had a question for you though, when you talked about, because when many of us, when we hear that word carbs, it can mean a variety of things, and maybe you can describe the variety of carb food. However, how do you also support people who are diabetic and that sort of thing in regards to food? Because that can be, I watch my husband as well. He controls his diabetes mostly with food. So that relationship can be very toxic or can be very challenging. So how do you?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, the first thing is I'm not a medical doctor. So the what I say here is really just is going to be simple, yet at the same time common sense for it. In the book, I do go through carbs, proteins, and fats, just outlining those and what they are. Carbs are very much like an energy source. Okay, think of it like the fuel tank of your car. And your fuel tank has to be, or it has to have some fuel in it in order for the car to run. If you say, well, look, now fuel's evil. I'm not using fuel this month. I'm going to. Well, your tank's you're not going to go very far. And that happens with our body. And once you start doing that, your body then, you're pushing yourself. So you're pushing yourself and that's where the stress comes in. Stress is a big one in this topic.
Right?
And so carbs, there's good carbs and bad carbs. Essentially anything that is processed or not processed. The not processed we would see as being good carbs. So fruits and vegetables and things like that. Um, the bad carbs or the ones to have minimals are stuff that's processed. So processed sugar, for example, pastries, cakes, all those yummy good things that we now in I wouldn't be eliminating those totally because there's times where they're appropriate. It's a balance. That's what it's about. For someone who is diabetic, though, what I would be doing is going really allowing them to to have the flexibility in their with the illness, particularly if Scott's using food. Okay, he will know the best regime for keeping that and modifying that. What we've got to then do is work around that, um, provided it's some good foods in there and not going. So we then work around it with other things that can help him out through that. So I'm not going to touch the diabetes bit. That's really up to him, particularly type 2 diabetes. However, I will say I did have one lady on a challenge. She joined me with a friend, and this lady went to the doctor, had the blood test, and was on the edge of becoming type 2 diabetes. And she knew exactly what she had to do. So I didn't have to really uh, talk to her too much. She says, look, I got to give up the block of chocolate every night. I've got to give up all my fizzy drinks during the day. I've got to, and she says, I've got to do exercise. I don't do anything at the moment. So she had a friend and they walked every night after work. She gave up the bad stuff and got a healthy diet going to her. And to her credit, she won the weight loss challenge in that time after 12 weeks. And I think she'd lost 12 kilos in it and never went on diabetic medication. Simply, now she took the interest. It was a bit of a wake-up call for her. But these are the steps we can take. For someone like Scott, I don't know his history, and it's probably not the time for that. Um, I've usually found that when the diet is going to be a big influencer and exercise as well, maybe something that is helpful.
You had
Yeah,
mentioned, Barry, yeah, exercise. I forget your exact wording. What did you call it?
enjoyable movement.
I love that. I love that. So can you expand on that?
Here's a quick pause in the conversation to invite you to join our Facebook community, Soulmates and Suitcases podcast. Tell your story, amplify your voice, where we share upcoming guests, new episodes, and conversations from the podcast. And you can catch all episodes on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Be sure to follow and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Now back to the show.
Yeah, enjoyable movement is a term that Mark David from the Institute of the Psychology of Eating, it's one that he introduced us to. So when we talk of exercise, quite often it's this, I've got to go to the gym, got to do this amazing routine. I was bad yesterday. I've got to work it off now, and I've got to go and I've got to do that and this. And sometimes with that, you can get a real punishment mentality with it as well. Oh, why did you eat that, you silly person? You know not to eat that. And it's there. And personally, I'm not one who likes gyms. I rather do my enjoyable movement outside. So we're getting away from that, and can become a bit of an issue and a hard slog to do if we're talking about exercise. Enjoyable movement, though, is doing something that you enjoy. Some people love gyms, no problem, go for it. Some people, me myself, I walk most days in the morning. I also enjoy swimming. It's just great to be out and just feeling it. For me, it's also a stress release as well. So that's the enjoyable movement is finding something that you enjoy doing. Exercise doesn't have to be something that's that hard slog of, oh, boring, I got to do some exercise. No, you're going to treat your body so well because your body will thank you for it and get you into a routine that is going to be healthy for you. And what I like about walking out, you might decide a weekend, we'll go for a walk in nature. I mean, so good. You're out there, perhaps the fresh air, the trees, everything, that's all so good in stressing down, getting the exercise and the movement. It all works so well with you. So enjoyable movement is simply doing the movement and the exercise you love. The thing to note with that, though, it's just one of the things about the human body. We are designed for movement. And I don't think many of us can get away with that. There's so many benefits of it, of, I've mentioned the stress release of the getting out there. And even if you're by yourself, it's that calmness of it, getting the cortisol built up from stress out of your muscles and things like that. Um, Being able to physically, you could build up your body or just maintain your body as it's needed. And the great thing is, it does burn off a few calories.
It sure does. It sure does. You're just reminding me of all the things I love to do as well, Barry. You talked about walking, you talked about swimming. I get to do both of those things, and going out into nature. And one thing I've discovered, Barry, is that I can massage myself. So interesting enough. So I know a lot of people talk about waking up in the middle of the night, and we know getting a good night's sleep is very important. However, I've discovered I don't get upset with myself if I ever wake up in the middle of the night. It's an opportunity to massage my hands or massage my
Yeah.
arms or my feet or something, right? And just slowly discovering that the movement of the body is like it's so important. And sometimes it's the quiet times that are the most resetting and the most healing. So like I'll just lay out by the pool and on a yoga mat, and I have my dog's a little chew toy ball, and put it
Yeah.
on my back or whatever. And that movement for me is heaven.
Yes, absolutely. And that's part of the joy of all this work is, we can talk about food and what food works for you and everything, but things like exercise and movement, which are such a connected thing for our body, is so important. And yeah, you can do different things like that. And like you say, you wake up in the middle of the night and just an opportunity to give that little bit of a massage and
Yes.
being able to do that. That's all. I would see that, yeah, no problem. Whatever works, and it's up to us to really find out what works. Uh, you know, One of the big things in this modern age, uh, it just goes so fast, and we're so time poor. And we go, everything's rush, 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 rush. Oh no, I can't do that. I go, oh, I don't have time. I've got to, and before you know it, we've not eaten well. We've not had the enjoyable movement that we should get. This, that, and that's it's not being scheduled in. It's not being thought about. it does take its toll, particularly as you go through each life stage, you realize. So that's all the awareness part of it as well, is just being aware, how is my body traveling? And that's a good thing you could have at the end of the day. Say, what did I did well? I did this really well. What could I do even better? I could do this. What do I need to think a little bit more about? Well, I didn't do too well. I got too busy or I got distracted. Um, there's so much we can do as human beings and our potential, and there's so much rushing and everything like that, even in preparation of food. Over here I've noticed, takeaway has always been big, but gee, the rideshare services now, we don't, the relationship with food is so important. It is magically important. And I'm an avid gardener and I love growing my own vegetables. And there's nothing like a homegrown produce that you can bring to the table. There's just something about it that's so much better.
I agree. It's this chance to put love into something and then it loves you back later,
Yeah, that's
right?
that's exactly it. And I bring this one out in the book where there's lots of things like growing something. Like let's take a tomatoes. We'll grow, I germinate the seeds, and then I plant it in the ground. Then I've got to watch out for the weeds and the bugs and keep it nice. Then I've got to straighten the plant up so it grows vertically, and flowers start to appear. Oh, great! So we keep them all good, and finally the fruit appears, and then the magic time you get to take and harvest the fruit, bring it to the table, and there's something just so ripe and so fresh. It's energy that we've put into growing it. And then someone might create, if I'm not cooking that night, someone else might cook, and they will put the energy and the love. Oh, this is a big topic
Oh, it's a
into that.
huge one.
And it all goes in. You know, when we eat, it's not just our mouth that's eating. Our mind eats as well. All of that atmosphere all goes in and gets connected to the meal. And that is really amplifies the experience of eating and the joy of eating.
100%. And I know for many people it can feel very overwhelming. And I'm sure you saw that very initially when you had that first sort of diet thing. People were coming to you in just dire straits, many. And to develop the new patterns over time, it does take some what my husband likes to say to me, be gentle on yourself, like you're doing great and you keep moving forward. But it does take time to develop the new habits. So what is that first step, I guess, that one can say to oneself to start to shift? And also, I want to know your book that you have, The Quiet Hunger. What is the significance of the picture? Is there a story behind that front cover as well, if you can share that?
Yeah, cool. Cool. Um, yeah, so if someone's starting out, what um what I try to explain if I'm coaching someone, for example, or even doing a workshop, I'll say, when we're born, we're a pretty simple being, and our brain is not jammed packed with information. In fact, it's almost empty. It's there's nothing. We've come out of mummy's tummy, and where are we? And now we've got to learn about the body. We've got to learn about moving. We've got to learn about the world out there where we are. So information goes in, and that will come from the environment. It'll come from the people we are with, our family, friends, relationships. uh, and all of that. And that is input for us. When before the age of 7, we're sort of like a sponge almost. Information is just being consumed. And out of that information, we'll get a picture of the world. And that's what we think the world is all about. And amazingly, each of us has a different picture of the world.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, that's what we're going to work with. And then that continues through growing. So, so our mind is going to be picking up little bits and things people know about food. It's going to be their food rules, the good, the bad, the, what it is, what's going to work for me, what's not. That worked for someone else. I better try that. Well, no, this is about thinking. This is about now learning to think and learning to be aware with yourself. So if someone's starting, what I look for is really their food rules to start with and to find out what those rules are. And that could be rules about good food, bad food. Um, it could be about perhaps they never get started. They have everything, but they never get started. And that could be habits along the ways. Things like it could be the people pleaser sort of person, and so their own needs get pushed aside, or they wait till everyone else is happy and then they might eat. So all of these rules that we have, um, that's really what I look for, because you can't go into this and just think that, oh, well, yeah, I'll do this, do A, B, C, D, and by Friday you'll be done. It's not that. This is the great thing is this is all about you. How what things are made up in that picture in your mind of how the world works, how I um, work out and meet people in the world, what things are important to me, and what things about myself am I ignoring. So there's lots of personal stuff. Now that can get pretty deep, and mind you, it's usually after a couple of sessions um, where really the frustration comes on. After that, though, when you're aware of your own habits, it's then noticing, for what purpose do I have that? So you might say, oh, well, everyone else, I look after everyone else first, and then I wait till, well, what would happen if you looked after yourself first? And then and being aware, and that really is then understanding why you do stuff, you're understanding what your rules are for living in your mind. And if you can't really get over those, that's where either a group or individual coaching can help to help you sort out and just bring forward those things. And some of them are pretty sad. Some of them, there's a lot of emotion around it too. Um, and it's not uncommon for some of these things to have been forgotten or they've been buried down, yet they're causing problems. Your mind is sort of saying, hey, I don't want this anymore. It's not really helping us in any way. And, we don't know what to do with it. It's really, really difficult. So, yes, it takes a time and it does take a lot of awareness and a lot of self-compassion. This is one thing. It's time to start loving us. An exercise I give people sometimes is I say, after you've had a shower in the morning, stand in front of the bathroom mirror for 2 minutes. And that's, for some, it's not easy. That awareness and that love and that self-compassion has to start filtering through. Without that, the rest of the journey is going to be, a bit of a tug of war pull of, who's winning the fight here.
Yeah.
But genuinely loving ourselves, knowing that we're capable of so much, and allowing ourselves to voice what's in there deep down, to voice the hurt and any pain that might be there, the frustration, the anger. That's what really where this work comes. And that's what we're leading to. Will that happen initially? Maybe not, unless you know it, unless you've been perhaps a little more aware and you know what's troubling you. That's
Mm.
it. So that's where we go to with this. It's being aware and learning to listen to yourself, what yourself is saying to you, and understanding that that this is not a condemnation thing. It's an awareness thing. Awareness is not judgment. It's not putting you in a particular box. It's simply observing and saying, gee, you know what? This is going on. Okay. And then maybe being curious about that. For what purpose is that on?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've noticed that before. And then just give yourself a big hug.
Yeah.
Just, you're awesome. Thank you for letting me know about that. We can move forward now. You can even ask yourself, what do you think the best thing to do here is? And you may get an answer back. A bit of intuition, a bit of just something pops into your head. Oh, I think we'll do that now. Yeah. Another thing is just being enjoying yourself. So this awareness and self-love, doing things and having time today, committing to things that you enjoy doing. And it might be simple as just going and having a bath. Sit in the bath for an hour or so and just be you. It might be going for a walk in nature. I don't know. That is important. Prioritizing you and letting you come out and have their say. Now, there was a lot in that, Lisa.
It was perfect. It's golden wisdom. That's what I'll call it. There was so many good things in that. I it's to have the simple reminders, I think, and even the way you speak, Barry, and the way you simplify the understanding makes it very clear and doable, I believe, for clients that work with you.
Yeah, and it's got to be like that because, as I said, it's awareness, it's not judgment, it's not condemnation. And quite often the clients have had a lot of condemnation that could be from family or friends, but it's self-condemnation as well. And it's learning to let go of that. Let's try a different way that's going to build us up and
Exactly.
start creating that healthy inside. And one of the ways too, I certainly believe mind and body together. I think that our body occasionally lets us know, hey, you need to be aware of something. It just might be a pain in something, or it could be an illness. I don't know. And you just got to ask yourself, oh, what's that all about? What's going on? Is there anything I need to know? That doesn't happen all the time, but it's just another way that our body just alerts us to something's going on. Something's here that you don't need anymore. Great. Let's work it out. And step by step, of course, this is not a fast program. Yet for a lot of us, we've lived for years repeating the same things, doing the same behavior, being negative to ourselves, making others the more priority. This is getting back to being us. And what's our purpose? And that's a good one. Even expanding that and saying, hey, why am I here on planet Earth? What's my purpose? What's my thing that an ability that I'm here to share to make others' life really even more, and that they can be themselves and be whoever they are. That's what it ever. That's why I love this topic. It's,
It's it is. It's not fast. However, it's critical. I think it's extremely important. And understanding that when we can and choose to take care of ourselves, it actually is other people, because when we can fill what I call our bucket, when we can fill our
yes,
own bucket and it overflows, the overflows part can take care of other people
yeah.
as well.
And then the ripples go out.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's it. It's from one to another. There we go. I'll try and
yes.
lighten it up now. We've said a little bit, give people a bit of a breath. I'm glad you mentioned the cover. I've had a few people mention the cover. Can I just ask, first of all, what do you believe it means? Or what came to you when
Well,
you
my
saw that?
my first assumption, it's a lady, and so I'm assuming the author is going to be a lady and have a connection to women. So that was my initial assumption, not seeing your name at the bottom, and then I tuned into the aging going on in the mirror, and then thought, oh, there is something that you're desiring, kind of like that word hunger that you're talking about. So you're desiring or you're hungering for more in your life. So a few things going on for me. And your subtitle is Breaking Through
Disordered
Disordered
eating.
Eating. So
Yeah.
again, all these, especially with women and, anorexia and bulimia and everything else that's gone through our world in regards to, I got to look a certain way and I need to,
Mm.
be a certain size, that the focus is more on women than men. So those are the things that I got from your front cover.
Ah, well done. That's good. Look, there's a number of different things with this that have sort of turned up as the book has progressed, actually. Initially, it's to you have this person and they're holding up a card, if you like, that looks on the inside. And you say, hang on, there's stuff on the inside that we've got to deal with. And that's really, as I mentioned a few moments ago, it's those sorts of things that need attention as we go. The other thing is you've got this almost perfect outside image and perfectionism and the need to be seen as someone who's got it all together. Yet underneath, there's the person who's, almost screaming inside because of that. Uh, that's it. That's really the main thing with the image. I knew it would be different. I didn't want to use food or diets or anything. This is not a diet program, although we talk about eating and enjoyable movement. So I wanted to go for something different because the book is something different. And I go through, there's so much I go through. It's really, I suppose, an introduction. You go through the book or read it and just take what is needed for you at the time. So I start off first of all with looking at relationship with food and go through some of the dieting, uh, you could call them myths, but things that have not been helpful in the dieting world. I then go through the eating challenges. So we're talking about emotional eating, binge eating, overeating, chronic weight loss activity, and a new one called orthorexia, where orthorexia is relatively new, say the last 10 years, where being healthy becomes unhealthy. And believe it or not, there's a condition very difficult to diagnose.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what we focus on there. And then the last bit of the book, I focus on some personal development stuff and moving forward. So that's essentially the layout of the book. One thing I will mention, disordered eating, as distinct from an eating disorder.
Mhm.
So you mentioned um,
Anorexia.
anorexia. You could put bulimia in that as well. Um, those those more they're a little more serious eating disorder that we'd refer on to a psychologist or someone.
Mhm.
Disordered eating is, I suppose, the bit leading up to that, where you've got these different, your eating arrangement and your habits is just whatever's not working for you. And so we can work out those patterns and work out those challenges that and get find out what's driving those, if there's anything, and get you onto a different regime.
That's what it's all about. And there's support like yourself, Barry, out there to help make those shifts. And it can feel overwhelming, but really it's one action at a time.
Final pause. If you've got a message on your heart and want to be our guest, don't be shy. We'd love to hear from you. Visit forwardwalkingchoices.com, scroll to the Soulmates and Suitcases podcast section, and click apply here. Now back to the show.
And to start implementing those habits and routines into your day. And like you said about even the movement, it's to make it enjoyable.
That's it.
That's it.
And at the end of the day, it's starting to really open your eyes a little more to yourself and to realize that you're, whatever people might say, it could be some bad, nasty comments that people have said, or they're bad experiences that you've had. That's not you. It might be an opinion, or it might be something in the past, but it's not here today.
That's
And
right.
it can't, and it's doesn't have to be you in the future. So we amazingly have that opportunity to really give ourselves that big hug and say, you are awesome. I don't really care about what you've done to yourself or what has happened. We're going to make this a really good body. We're going to make this a good experience, and we're going to go and have some amazing experiences. And if we can do that with food and eating, in the book, I give a graph of those overweight and obese in Australia since 1990 up to 2022. And there's just this line that goes, it's really hasn't ever come down or plateaued or anything. So that tells us we're doing something wrong. There's something that, and yet the diet industry just keeps going and expanding and being. And yeah, all right, I know it's great to lose weight. You can make people lose weight. That's no worries. But in 12 months, you might see them again, and that sort of thing. Let's give people something that they can hold on to and acknowledge as theirs
Mhm.
and use that to really build themselves up and start to achieve some amazing things.
Exactly. Now, Barry, we're coming to the end of our podcast, and your sharing today is, I think, key, critical to really learning how to live your best life. Because when we start to look inward and we start to realize that we are worthy of better or worthy of greater or worthy of something more than we thought we can be, then this conversation today was very good. So thank you very much, Barry, for sharing your wisdom today.
That's the way. It's a pleasure. And my website, if
Yes,
I can give that, is
please.
my business. I'm known as the Human Experience Coach. So www.thehumanexperiencecoach. You can find out more about me. That should be a .com.au on the back
Yes.
of that. Find out more about me if you need to get in touch. That'd be great.
And your book?
And the book, The Quiet Hunger, is hasn't been released yet. It will be on Amazon and probably a couple others as well.
And
But
they can find that on your site as well.
if you jump onto the site, I have started the pre-launch program at the moment, so you can actually go and order that, and we'll give it to you. You'll get some emails from me as well. I'm probably going to chop up the start of the book and maybe even send that too. You can get started with some before the real copy actually arrives. But there we go. I'm hoping by the end of the month or early June we should have it.
Very exciting, very exciting. And of course, I met Barry through the authoring program together. So congratulations again, Barry, on your book and The Quiet Hunger. And for those who have listened or watched our episode today with Barry McElhinney, I'll get it right.
That's good.
If you enjoyed the show with Barry, please leave a review below or a comment or share this episode. It's an extremely important topic. Thank you, Barry. And also for those who would like to subscribe to our YouTube or Spotify, we are also on Apple Podcast. And make sure to turn on those notifications so you don't miss these special episodes. As well, we do have a Facebook community page called Soulmates and Suitcases. Tell your story, amplify your voice. And for anyone else who's interested in joining us as a guest or would like to find anything out more about Scott and I or our books, you can find us at forwardwalkingchoices.com. Thank you again, Barry. All the best. Take care.
You're welcome. Thank you, Lisa, and thank you everyone for listening. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Have a great
Looking for more inspiration around healing, love, growth, and possibility? You can explore our books at payhip.com/Lisa Scott Brearley Authors. And if today's episode meant something to you, we'd love for you to follow the podcast, share it with someone you care about, or join our Soulmates and Suitcases community online. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you next time.